For those who live in the Northern Hemisphere, summer is upon us, bringing with it the long-awaited return of shorts, flip-flops, and to my personal horror, of short and no-sleeve shirts. Now, for a lot of people, this really isn't a big deal. The most the average person has to worry about when it comes to short sleeves is whether or not their arms look fat, but for a fair few, or at least for me, there is a bit of a more pressing matter at hand. I did decide to wear short sleeves in this video to help illustrate the point I'm trying to make, but you should know that I'm not going to go out of my way to highlight the parts of myself that have inspired this topic, which I guess I should just go ahead and tell you. Here's the point in the video where I'm obligated to warn you that I'm going to be touching on the very sensitive subject of self-harm. Now notice I said touching on. The subject of self-harm is not the focus of this video, not because it's not important, but because it is, and because it deserves its own video somewhere down the line, and that's a video that, if I'm being honest, I'm really not ready to make yet. Rather, I'm going to be talking about the violently permanent markings that are left behind and my experiences with people's reaction to them and what I've decided to say to those people right here, right now, to set some things straight. The scars are and always will be a part of my life, and even though they represent a dangerously dark aspect of it, I'm going to be dealing with them in the same way that I deal with everything else, because guess what? They're my scars, and I'll talk about them in whatever way I want to. Dealing with people's reactions to and comments about the marks on my arm has easily been the greatest and most humiliating consequence of self-harm that I have and that I continue to experience on nearly a daily basis when it gets to be this time of the year. But the fact is that they're there and they will be for the rest of my life, and if you have a problem with that, you can shove it. They are numerous, and unfortunately for me, they're all pretty noticeable, but these facts and my acceptance of them within myself doesn't mean that you get to inform me and remind me of their existence, because believe it or not, I already know they're there. I will always live with the memories of their origins, which is a burden I would never place on any of you and an experience I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. I hope that the majority of you would be appalled by some of the things that some people have said to me about the scars on my arm, of which they know nothing. And do you know how I know this? Because I didn't tell them. I don't need any of your advice about how to get rid of them or cover them up. You don't think that I've tried the miracle treatments and creams? Oh really? I need to put a little bit of the extra sunscreen on them to keep them from getting darker? And wow, that one's a little bit more extreme, but no, I will not be getting a tattoo to cover them up. Why would I want something else on my body that I can't get rid of? Thank you. Thank you for informing me in the most passive-aggressive ways possible of exactly how much shame I should feel about violating your innocence by forcing you to look upon my ugly arm, of how much shame I should feel about bearing such marks in public. Oh, but think of the children, of the example I'm setting for them by bearing the battle wounds of a war which should only ever be fought behind closed doors, or maybe in a doctor's office. Oh, bless her soul, but don't invite her to church because she bears her imperfections on her body, while the rest of us have the decency to keep our struggles to ourselves. I'm sorry if it scares you that the sickness of my brain has left its undeniable mark on a body that is otherwise healthy. I'm sorry if it scares you to think that the side of me I let you see isn't the only one because of your blatant and selfish inability to imagine me a little more complexly. I'm sorry that you continue to ask of their origin despite their blatant uniformity, and you're welcome for allowing you to make me into this week's social terror by removing myself from company which had become unpleasant to my senses. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for reminding you of the uncomfortable reality of the depravity of your human existence, of the fragility of the human mind, of the determinate number of days you have left on this earth. I am sorry. I am. But I will not wear sleeves. While the world takes comfort in the pride flaming upon its own sleeves, I bear my marks with shame, but that shame is my own, and that which belongs to you, you know, that which you have been trying to place upon my shoulders, that is not mine, and it is not a gift I plan on accepting anytime soon. You can't hide the fact from me that your fear isn't that I've survived the battle, but that I'll lose the next. But you're wrong in thinking that it was ever me who succeeded in the first place, but instead I was saved by the one thing existing beyond this universe who was and is to come, and if scars make you uncomfortable, you just might be waiting on the wrong savior. Or you might not be waiting on a savior at all, which, if I'm honest, I wasn't either. Take me or leave me, but don't you dare tell me that it's because of my self-inflicted blemishes, because if anything, I'm lucky that my disfigurement forces me to remain fully aware of my depravity. So tell me, why the hell would I ever wear sleeves?